Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna, Srinidhi Govind Prabhu. Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Welcome all devotees to the Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. Today we're going to hear from Canto 5, Chapter 26, Text 0, 1 and 2 from His Grace Srinidhi Govind Prabhu. Prabhuji, over to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So we are welcome everybody to this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So we are discussing today on new chapter and the last chapter of this canto, fifth canto. 526, 1 and 2 we are doing. Rajo Uvacha Maharsha etad vaichitram lokasya katham iti. राजोवाच महर्षये तत् वैचित्र्यं लोकस्य कथम् इति. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. King Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, "My dear sir, why are the living entities put into different material situations? Kindly explain this to me." Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the different hellish planets within this universe are held slightly above the Garbhodaka ocean and remain situated there. This chapter describes how all sinful persons go to these hellish planets and how they are punished. There are assistants of Emeraj. Different individuals within different bodily features enjoy or suffer various reactions according to their past deeds. I will read the second verse as well. Rishir Uvacha Traigунатват कर्तु श्रद्धया कर्म गतयः पृथग्विधा सर्व एव सर्वस्य तारतम्येन भवन्ति. ऋषिरुवाच त्रैगुणात्वात् कर्तुः श्रद्धाया कर्म गतायः पृथग्विधा सर्व एव सर्वस्य तारतम्येन भवन्ति. ऋषिरुवाच त्रिगुणात्वात् कर्तुः श्रद्धायाः कर्म गतायः पृथग् विदाः सर्व एव सर्वस्य तारतम्येन भवन्ति. Word by word meaning. Rishiruvacha, the great saint Sukadeva Goswami said, Traigунатват, because of the three modes of the material nature, Kartuhu, of the worker, Shraddhaya, because of the attitudes, Karmagataha, destinations, resulting from activity, Prathik, different, Vidaha, varieties, Sarvaha, all, Evaha, Eva, thus, Sarvasya, of all of them, Taratamyena, in different degrees, Bhavanti, become possible. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. There is no purport to this. The great sage Sukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, in this material world, there are three kinds of activities. Those in the mode of goodness, and the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. Because all people are influenced by the three modes of material nature, the results of their activities are also divided into three. One who acts in the mode of goodness is religious and happy. One who acts in the passion achieves mixed misery and happiness. And one who acts under the influence of ignorance is always unhappy and lives like an animal, because of varying degrees to which the living entities are influenced by the different modes of nature. Their destinations are also of different varieties." Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Jutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabhadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुर्लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपापमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्. So, most of us have been hearing, but I was a little busy in other things. Most of us, we are hearing the cosmology, Vedic cosmology in the last 3 days. So I heard that it was a very good session, but I had booked it, but I could not attend. I only attended the first introduction. After that, I was having other classes, so I could not attend. So Srimad Bhagavatam has been systematically guiding us through the layers of understanding, particularly the creation and the universal structure. We heard how Lord expands this universe, the functioning of the time and the layout of the cosmos, and particularly the descriptions of Jambudvipa, oceans of milk and liquor, golden mountains, gigantic trees, all reminding us of the Lord's vast creative power. So, this particular chapter, Sukdev Goswami turns our attention to the hellish planets. So, why end this fifth canto in this way, basically? Because after appreciating the beauty of the grandeur of the cosmos, we also need to confront the consequences of misuse. See, human life is basically a gift for us, but a gift that comes with certain responsibility. So, Parikshit is questioning here, very important question. He says, Maharsha etad vaichityam lokasya katham iti. Why is there such variety in conditions of living beings in this world? His observation, one child is born in a palace, another child is born under the bridge. One is born beautiful, one is born ugly, one is born beautiful with beautiful voice and becomes singer, and other child even cannot speak. One enjoys good health, other child is disabled from birth. So these are all questions he's asking. If God is merciful, why such a disparity? Isn't it unfair? It's a modern question. People often ask, why do bad things happen to good people? Some even lose faith in God, thinking if God is all powerful and good, he should stop this suffering. So Parikshit is asking question, very, very important question. It is not just philosophy. It is a real cry of a human heart. See, he is actually a realized soul. He actually asks questions for our benefit, basically. This shows, see, as an emperor, he had everything, Basically, he knows that he's dying in 7 days. Sometimes, what happens is there's a wrong teachers and right teachers. A boy asks why stars shine in the sky. The wrong teacher will tell because God is bored. But true teacher explains scientifically and spiritually, shows the importance of seeking the right source. Similarly, here, Sukadeva Goswami is answering his question. This Parikshit Maharaj is about to die in 7 days. He could have asked, what will happen to me? How can I escape suffering personally? But instead, his heart turns outward. Why are people suffering differently? This is Vaishnava's compassion. Para dukkha dukhi. A selfish man thinks only of himself. A noble man thinks of his family and a country. But the real Vaishnava thinks of all living beings. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was ill, completely ill, and still he dictated purports of Srimad Bhagavatam because he was thinking, if I stop this, who will guide the world? That is the mood of Parikshit here also. Compassion before the self-interest. So Sukadeva Goswami is replying here. He is replying because of the three modes of material nature and according to one's faith and activities, different destinies arise for all living beings in many gradations. Sattva, Raja, and Tamas. Every one of us is in a unique mixture. So, basically, unique mixture is Sattva Guna is knowledge, clarity, harmony, peace. Rajas is ambition, restlessness, endless desire. Tamas is again mixture of laziness, illusion, darkness, like how the colors, primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, mix into infinite shades. The three gunas combine to create infinite personalities and destinies. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, Prakritehe kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. All actions are performed by the modes of nature. So our differences are not random, but shaped by the gunas that we associate with. So basically, it starts with the Shraddha, power of faith. Again, the faith is also shaped by the gunas. In the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Shraddhatrayo vibhagaha, faith of three kinds. Again, based on the modes. So, Sattva Guna, we have different faith in the truth, faith in the scriptures, faith in the Dharma. And Rajas has got faith in wealth, success, material power. And Tamas is a faith, intoxication, violence, and all kind of nonsense things. So it is difficult in a way. So the laws of action and reaction is Sukadeva Goswami's third point. From faith we have choices, from choices we have karma to reactions. Basically, it talks about karma is very complex, but everything is recorded. So he's talking about gradations of the results also, taratamya. Sukadeva Goswami says destinies come in gradations. Acts of goodness and sacrifice, you may get heavenly planets. Mixed pious and impious acts, you may get human life. Grossly sinful acts, hellish planets. Degraded ignorance, maybe animal or plant life, lower yonis. And devotional service to Lord Krishna, going back home, back to Godhead. So he's talking about gradations here. sometimes what happens, the same judge, sometimes a man is caught by speeding, maybe he pays a very small fine. Another, while speeding, he kills a person, he may get a prison. Same judge, but both these things, reactions are done fairly. Is a very important uh, thing here. So here in the Madhya Lila, in 24.6, is there's a translation and purport. I just read the translation. When the devotee somehow or the other always remembers the Supreme Personality of Godhead, anywhere and everywhere, Lord Hari takes away life's four miserable conditions. The four miserable conditions are due to four kinds of sinful activities known as Pataka, Urupataka, Mahapataka, and Atipataka. Preliminarily, sin, very great sin, greater sin, and the topmost sin. However, Krishna assures the devotee, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshami umasuchaha. I will protect you from all sinful actions. Do not fear. The word sarva papebhyaha indicates four kinds of sinful activities. As soon as a devotee surrenders unto Krishna's lotus feet, he is certainly relieved from all sinful activities and their results. The four basic sinful activities are summarized as illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. So in the 4.17 of Bhagavad Gita, karmano hai api bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanascha cha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi. And translation reads like this: the intricacies of the action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So everybody, see, there are three types of karmas Bhagavad Gita explains. One is the karma. This is basically a prescribed karma. So actions prescribed by the scriptures based on the varnashrama system. And what is akarma? Akarma is the actions that free one from the bondage of the cycle of birth, death. And this is basically preferred by all the devotees, intelligent people. And vikarma is exactly opposite. Actions performed by misusing one's freedom, which direct one to the lower life forms. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives many instructions that you will do sins. If you do this, you will do sins. For example, I'll just give you an example of 13th shloka of Karma Yoga. We're discussing on Saturday this one. Yadne sishtasana santo mushyante sarva kilbishai bunjate te tvagam papa ye pachantyatma karanat. He simply said, the devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which are offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal enjoyment verily eat only sin. So many shlokas. I only took this shloka important because we offer food. And we have been told that, Krishna, whatever the bhoga you make, you offer it to Lord. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Tadam bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. What he is asking is only patram pushpam phalam toyam. A leaf, flower, and fruit and water. But does he want a leaf? We offer tulsi leaf, tulsi putram samarpayami. When we are offering tulsi fruit, tulsi leaf, he's not bereft of tulsi leaf. He'll just throw back to us. Because while offering the bhoga tulsi leaf, our mind has to be 100%. Please accept this Krishna. Because when some guests have come home, very important guests have come home. How do you treat them? So, exactly the same way that we need to treat Krishna here. So, he is actually telling, I have uh, sowed a seed, and you got a human form, and you got Karmendriya 5, Jnanendriya 5, and you have mind here. His mind is chopped off. These things are not useful. Karmendriya is not useful. Jnanendriya is not useful. This is important here. Mind is here. And in the fifth chapter, it is said, Urdhva Moola Madashagam Ashwattam Prahuravayam Chandamsi Yasya Paranani Astam Veda Saveda Vita. So, this mind should be, while offering, he is asking that leaf. Mind is a leaf here. So when we are offering here, we check hal on banda hai, milkman has come or newspaper has come. We should not. We should not divert our mind anywhere else other than offering to Krishna. So that he's not accepting tulsi leaf. He's accepting what is behind while accepting the tulsi leaf, our mind, our bhakti. And flower, you see, Gajendra, 1,000 years he actually tried getting rescued from that crocodile. He could not. Finally, he took a flower and offered. So, what kind of flower we should offer? I was just listening to one class other day. He's telling Pancha Pushpa. What Pancha Pushpa that we have? We have truthfulness. First Pushpa is Ahimsa. Ahimsa is the first Pushpa. Ahimsa means we should not even hurt anybody. That non-violence is the first Pushpa that we should offer. I mean, offer in the sense we should be of that mind. When we are offering, we should not have done any ahimsa. Even hurting someone is an ahimsa. Then we should be truthful to anybody. Then asteya. Asteya is non-stealing. We should not take anybody's property. Then fourth one is the brahmacharya. Then fifth one is aparigraha. Lobha. So these are the pancha pushpas that we should have within us while offering. These are the pushpas that Krishna wants. Patram pushpam phalam. Prabhu, I have offered a best apple to Krishna. He doesn't want our apple. What he wants? Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam sukha mukhad amruta drabya samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam muhur aha rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. He wants a fruit of a bhagavata. That nigama kalpataror galitam phalam. While offering, you say a shloka from Bhagavatam. Om Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Offer. This is the fruit that he is wanting. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Krishna, see, we have to offer. Toyam is water. Ganga is washing his lotus feet. Does he want water from us? No. The water, Krishna has provided so many things for us. He has provided a very good family. He has provided a very good job. Everything he has provided around us. Everything is there. Goods association, Sukruti and Harinam and Guru and so many things he has provided, Krishna. And when you stand in front of Krishna and while thanking him, one drop of tears come from our eyes. That itself is enough for Krishna. So, patram pushpam phalam toyam, that is important. So, this is a little bit out of the way, but Krishna has said, even if you have done papa, no, sarvadharman parityajya, mamekam sharanam prajaham tvam sarva papebhyo, I will take all your sins. But our mindset has to be like this. That's why Krishna is asking these things, but are we giving these things is important. Sukadeva Goswami has said, now I have explained everything and explained how the planets are situated, what place they are situated. All these planets, these places are positions which are achieved by living entities according to their karma. Those who are extremely pious, who have acted so much in the mode of goodness, they get placement in the higher sections of the universe. And those who act sinfully get placed in the lower parts of the universe and have to suffer. And when one is in the higher planets of the universe, there is a predominance of the pleasure. And when one is in the lower parts of the universe, there is a predominance of suffering. So, this chapter 26, Maharaj Parikshit asks Sukadeva Goswami, my dear sir, why are the living entities put into different material situations? Kindly explain this to me. It is like after having taken a tour of the prison house and having seen many different varieties. Some of them are very small and barren. Some prisoners are staying in almost in a luxurious room. You can also see that now a lot of politicians are going into jail and they're giving all facilities in the jail. In TV also is there. Everything is there basically. So, what is the cause of one prisoner being placed in one situation, another prisoner is in another situation? So, therefore, that is basically is a question of Parikshit Maharaj. My dear sir, why are the living entities put into different situations? So, what causes one to be placed in higher material situations, the higher planets? What causes one to be placed in lower planets and suffer? Higher planets again means enjoyment. Lower planets means suffering. So Sukadeva Goswami in text 2 begins his reply. My dear king, in this material world there are three kinds of activities. He's talking about goodness, passion, and ignorance. Because all people are influenced by the three modes of material nature, the results of their activities are also divided into three. So, Krishna has again said in Bhagavad Gita, Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. So, it is easy to cross over this uh, material modes, but surrender to me. Those who surrender unto me, they can easily cross it. So, generally, um, that surrendering process is very difficult for us. So, one who acts in mode of goodness is religious and happy, and one who acts in passion achieves mixed misery and happiness, and one who acts under the influence of ignorance is always unhappy and lives like an animal. So, because of these varying degrees to which the living entities are influenced by different modes of nature, they reach destinations also of different varieties. Basically, this chapter talks about 28 hellish planets, different planets it talks about. When we keep going into this depth into this chapter later, so if you do one thing, what if you do this sin, what will happen? Which hellish planet that you will go into, and all these things. There are 28 different hellish planets are there. So. Um, we will study this little later. So there is goodness, there is passion, there is ignorance. If one acts good, influenced by that particular mode, the results are that one achieves religiousness and happiness. So one acts in passion, mixed misery and happiness. This is very frustrating, isn't it? Because if someone's miserable all the time, they become used to it. If someone is happy all the time, they get used to that. But when it switches back to the fourth, for example, such torture, because the happiness that they are experiencing, they know it is going to end and they are worried about it. And the misery that they are experiencing is miserable. Why? Because it's misery. And then under the influence of ignorance, again, one is always unhappy, miserable, terrible, angry, full of so much torture, self-torture. So it is not that it's clear, it is simply everyone is either in goodness or fully in goodness, fully in passion or ignorance. No one can have different proportions of these things, just like these three primary colors, yellow, red, and blue. So if you uh, if you take two parts of red and one parts of blue, it becomes one color. And if you put three parts of yellow and two parts of red, and it becomes blue, like that, it becomes another color. So these different mixtures of three modes of material nature combined become 81 different varieties. So, but there are more subtle varieties too: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness, passion, mixed different mixtures. So many things like this. Practically speaking, every individual has his own mixtures. So it is so individualized. So every individual, basically, every person has his own body, his own situation, his own mentality, because of the varieties of mixture of the modes. In other words, everyone's destination where they attain have different varieties. So I was listening to one story, small story. Lord Krishna came as a Shanti Dut when Dharma Yuddha was about to begin, because he wanted to try last time to go to Duryodhana and check to stop the war. But Duryodhana insults him. And then Krishna says the war is inevitable. Duryodhana wanted a war because he was thinking Bhishma and Drona are on his side. And he was sure of winning it. Meantime, Dasharatha actually calls an astrologer and get checked the Jataka of Duryodhana. And astrologer says all the grahas are in perfect place of Duryodhana, and definitely Duryodhana will win the war. But in the war, Kauravas getting killed one by one. So here, this side, Dhritarashtra is getting more worried. Then once again, he calls astrologer. You said Duryodhana is, all the grahas are in position correctly and Duryodhana is going to win the war. But looking at the whole situation there, I think he is losing the war. Why is that? Then the astrologer again brings the Jataka and he says, someone on the other side, he changing the graha's position. So, who is that changing the position? Then they understood, because Lord is on the other side. Actually, Lord is on the side of the Pandavas, who are the devotees of the Lord. Lord can change the graha's position. So here, what we need to understand here is that if we become devotees and our destiny is different, it is already different. So once we become devotees, our destiny can also change. So just by executing devotional service, one achieved different positions. So maybe in heavenly life or whatever. So by acting impiously, one achieves different positions in heaven, hellish life. Those who are activated by the material mode of ignorance engage in impious activities. So, and what will be the result of those impious activities? Where will they go? They go to the hellish place, which is dominated by ignorance and suffering and misery and so on. And according to the extent of their ignorance, they are placed in different grades of hellish life. If one acts in mode of ignorance because of the madness, his resulting misery is just least severe because he is mad. One who acts impiously but knows the distinction between pious and impious activities is placed in a hell of intermediate severity. So, different mentalities cause different results. So, the first one that was described as if one is crazy and does something in ignorance, then the result is relatively minimal because he does not know. So imagine the situation of us because we hear everything day in, day out. We know what is right and what is wrong. We know what do's and don'ts of devotional service. Having understood all these things, and if we make mistakes, if we uh, do the wrong things again, so what's going to happen? But if one knows the difference between right and wrong and acts wrongly, then he gets more deeply involved in ignorance, in an intermediate section of ignorance, of severity. And for one who acts impiously and ignorantly because of the atheism, he doesn't care who can stop. I will do whatever I want. Something like that person. So these are the things that are going to happen because that we will study in detail when we go verse by verse in the future verses. So here this is a beautiful narration between the disciple and the spiritual master, and the disciple is becoming enlightened here. His consciousness is becoming more and more aware. This is very, very powerful thing. Actually, awareness is probably one of the most powerful things. And what is he becoming aware of? And basically, it's for our own awareness. Because Parikshit Maharaj is a pure devotee. See, when in the 19th chapter of Bhagavatam, first canto, he came to know that he is going to die in 7 days because of the curse of the Shringi. He went in a Muni Vesha, sacrificed everything. He went on the bank of Ganges. There, all the rishis are coming. All the rishis come there, including Parashuram, Bharadwaj, Vashishta, Vishwamitra. All are coming. They are telling him we are going to Yatra. And we knew that you are sitting here meditation. We thought we'll come and meet you. Actually, they came for that purpose only because they also knew that Parikshit Maharaj is a Mahabhagavata. Mahabhagavata, and they also know that he is going to go to the Vaikunta in 7 days. So they came to assemble and see that Parikshit Maharaj is going to Vaikunta. They wanted to witness that. So Maharaj is a very pure devotee. He's pretty much aware of all these things. But out of compassion for us, he's asking this question so that we become enlightened. So he's been uh, taking a tour from all different planetary systems, the heavenly planets, earthly planets. And now he's going and showing and describing hellish planets. So um, you get a broad vision of what's going on. It's like you're stepping back and just look at everything that is within this universe. And for us, we can see this is what is available in this universe. And according to our desires and our activities, we can decide to go to any of these places. But the thing is, once you decide or once you act in certain way, it's inevitable that these destinations you will get. So that's why Prabhupada is always telling Marali Bhagavantanedege, go back home, back to Godhead. So devotees, our aim has to be go back home, back to Godhead. Our aim has to be that. So there's inevitable future, there's inevitable success. So we get to decide. But once you take that leap, then it can't be stopped. You end up in these places. So it's up to us before we leave this body, before we die, to actually be in the state of particular consciousness, be in the state of whatever you want to attain that you will be thinking of. So actually our test is only at the time of death. Whatever we practice, our test is only at the time of death. Like examinations will come in the March, April, everybody, all students will have examinations. Our examination also is there at the end of our life when the soul is leaving our body. Antyakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yanti nastatra samshayaha. Nodi. Krishna is telling, na samshayaha, there is no doubt at all. What is that not doubt? No doubt. Antyakale. So at the time of death, if you remember me, it is very difficult because people are not able to talk. But there is a smaran. You can remember smaran, subconscious mind. You can always, in the subconscious mind, you can remember Krishna at the time of death. You will go to Krishna. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. So he's giving one after the other two verses. There is no doubt. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, a smaran, that smarane, remembrance has to come at the time of death. It is very important. That is the test. And when we can pass the test, we are 100%, we are remembering Krishna manmanabo madbhakta madhyajimam namaskurum. 100% we are completely in devotional service, following the instructions of spiritual master and the instructions of Krishna, what is given in Bhagavad Gita and in Bhagavatam. We follow 100%. Then Prabhupada actually gives 100% you will go back home, back to Godhead. There is no doubt on that. So it is a state of a consciousness. It is important. So we are hearing all these things, hellish planets, basically to know what is what, but we are not interested to go to the hellish planets. But if you do, knowing all these things, if you are doing something wrong, then these things are there available. So just to know these things, we are getting all this knowledge. Actually, Bhagavatam should be read. That's why we have Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Because by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And then loving service unto Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose praise of transcendental songs is established as irrevocable fact. So it is irrevocable fact. Even though we may not have the taste for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam on daily basis, this is the actually remedy. Prabhupada says, somebody is having jaundice and sugar candy tastes bitter. You may not like it, but that is a cure. Just give him sugar candy, and Prabhupada says also, Prabhupada also says papaya is good. Papaya is good. So if you take this remedy, then gradually your taste for this will come back and you will be cured. So here Parikshit Maharaj is assured at least 7 days that he is going to leave. We don't know when we are going to leave. When we are going to leave our body, we don't know. Any moment, any minute that we can leave our body, we don't know. Person who has gone out of the house, we don't know whether he'll come back alive today. People think at the home, people, father, mother will think, why my son has not come on time? Why he has not come? Always bad things, bad thoughts will come in mind. Because of the Bangalore traffic, he has gone on bike, different things. So here he's taking advantage of these 7 days. Hmm. But we are assured, we are not assured of even 7 seconds, 7 minutes, even more. So we should be constantly hearing and reading these transcendental literatures. So he's about to leave the body and he's hearing about all these hellish planets. So imagine, so somebody is living the body, he will only hear about Krishna and holy name and so a lot of devotees prayers and so many things, but he's interested to hear about hellish planets. Actually, Parikshit Maharaj was a great king, had no problems in life. But he knew that there are something more in to life. So he wanted to find out from spiritual master what we should do. So for a devotee, there is actually no problem. But when Parikshit Maharaj heard of a hellish condition of these living entities on these hellish planets, so actually he became worried. He became sorry. He wasn't very happy about this. He was concerned about the living entities. So he wanted to find out. Even Prabhupada was very concerned about the living entities. So he wanted to find out from spiritual master, Parikshit Maharaj, how can they become free from this suffering? This is Vaishnava attitude. He is so compassionate for suffering living entities, even though he himself he is going through this problem in that he is dying in 7 days. That is his only so-called problem. To see suffering. That is his suffering, to see the suffering of the other people. He's very compassionate, paradukha dukhi. So even we could see the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very beautiful. He did not have any problems. He was very influential. He was Pandit. He was an Nimai Pandit, very affectionate. He had a very affectionate father, mother. He was so happy. Even demigods were happy. But he gave it up. He gave up why? Just to show mercy to the fallen, conditioned souls suffering in this material world. You look at Goswamis. Goswamis were chief ministers in the exalted position of the government that time. What did they do? They became mendicants, just wore a small cloth and a water pot. Why? To show mercy to the suffering humanity. That is Vaishnava culture. So he may be completely satisfied with Krishna. He is not unhappy, but his only unhappiness, Parikshit Maharaj unhappiness, is of the conditioned soul suffering in this material world. Prahlad Maharaj also said the same thing. He was just concerned about the fools suffering in this material world. Even Lord Jesus Christ, he agreed to suffer for his disciples. But Prabhupada said this is not a proper mentality. They should be sane. They should say, why should I cause suffering for my teacher, for my spiritual master? I should stop this nonsense. Parikshit Maharaj could see this. The inevitability of the conditioned soul to suffer due to their nonsense activities. So he wanted to know how they could become delivered from this hellish life. So in this foolish modern civilization, they think that they are independent of these laws. They may hear about hell, or they may have some kind of feeling that they're going to suffer for their activities. So they just kind of like write it off and say, I don't believe in that. And if because they don't believe it, that it's not inevitable that they are going to have some reaction for their activities. So this is the feature of modern civilization. They don't believe in next life. They think that this is all there. We have come to enjoy it, this material life in human life. I want to enjoy to the most of my capacity and go. Problem is they suffer. This is why he is very concerned about it. I think I'll stop it here because it is 7 minutes past 8. Um, we will. I will leave it to all of you if you have any comments on this particular chapter or questions. If I could answer, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Srinidhi Govind Prabhuji. Wonderful beginning for this beautiful chapter, the chapter and section that is coming up, Prabhuji, which will definitely keep us on our toes all this coming up weeks because of this description that we're going to hear coming up. So you started very wonderfully, Prabhuji, which I liked very much, that why this chapter? And you said one needs to know the consequence of not appreciating the Lord's facilities. That's such a wonderful way to start this chapter, and thank you so much for giving a how elaborating on the actions which lead to the reactions. So what should be our actions? And you nicely elaborated the shloka patram pushpam phalam toyam, what Krishna expects from us and what he accepts. Thank you so much. And the last was what should be our job. I kind of put up some points which you mentioned was, you said follow 100%.
Prabhu, what's it? Your voice is cut off, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. He's off, I think.
Maybe some network issues, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Parikshit
Prabhuji.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Sri Balaji Prabhu is back. He's off. Tell me, Prabhu. Dayamay Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Dhanwad Pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you for a very wonderful class, Prabhuji. Very practical and inspiring and in detail.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Anybody has some questions they can ask?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If there are no further questions or comments, maybe we can end the class here by Vaishnava Pranams, Prabhuji.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, all
Hare
of you.
Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, once again.
Hare Krishna.
We will meet same time tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare
I will
Krishna.
end the session for all. Thank you so
Hare
much.